living in an apartment at the time, and he shows up. I open the door, and there's this bad Zero Mostel comb over.
I could win the Nobel Prize and it would say, Meathead wins Nobel.
Out of the relationship between father and daughter. And we chose you because just like Carol O'Connor, you have blue eyes and a fat face. I said, okay, thanks.
It wasn't.
No one at all thought that comment would come out. When word got out that there were serious concerns about Rob Reiner, everyone in the industry was ready for the usual clean, polished press reaction. You know what to do. Words that were carefully picked out, safe language, and that distant tone that talked about private and respect. Everyone thought that would happen. What happened next totally caught everyone by surprise. Which is why what Sally Struthers said wasn't practiced. It wasn't cleaned. And it wasn't public relations at all. It was real-time feelings coming out. You know the kind of movie that makes you pause because it's too personal to watch? It wasn't an old coworker trying to get your attention. This was someone who grew up with Rob on the set of All in the Family and helped shape his personality. That connection didn't go away when the cameras stopped rolling, and it clearly never did. It wasn't just nostalgia for Sally. She was letting out feelings that had been built up for months. And what she hinted at quietly turned the story people thought they knew on its head. Her words matched up with rumors that were already going around among close friends and family, including worries that had reached people close to Tom Cruise in the last few days. In no way was this meant to be proof or a charge. It seemed like a lot of worry about something bad that might be going on behind closed doors. This is the part that really scared people. Not because she didn't care, Sally said, but because she wanted to protect Rob's honor. She kept quiet for a long time. It was clear that she knew it wasn't easy to be quiet. She said she finally spoke up because she was afraid that staying quiet would make things worse. When All in the Family premiered after 8 episodes, it quickly rose to #1, and we were all feeling good about things. During a coffee break on the set of a camera-blocking day, I turned to Norman Lair, who was standing off to the side, and said, "Norman, remember when I tried out for this?" Finally, there were only 4 people left. Penny Marshall was one of them, and we had to work out our lines with Rob. His answer was, "Yeah, what are you getting at?" I told her, "Well, I really thought Penny would get the job because Rob was at all of her auditions and was living with her and going to marry her soon, so he would surely want her to get the job. Did I really think I was the funny person in the room when we did the improvs for all the suits?" Well no," he says. She said, referring to her worries about Rob's son Nick Reiner. She made it clear that these were just fears and not legal claims. Her voice wasn't just sad when she talked. It was tense with anger and sadness. It wasn't anger over a public picture. It was anger over something that seemed out of control. The room went silent when she dropped the line. And yes, this is the exact quote she used. We could all see the cuts on his heart, but we were afraid to ask about the cuts on his arms. That sentence hurt a lot because it wasn't true. It made me feel. She was describing pain that can be seen, not physical proof. Then Sally talked about a lunch they had not long ago. She focused on this moment because it was the last time she saw Rob in person, and what she said didn't sound like the fiery vocal director that people know. She said he looked smaller, more shy, and always tense. It seemed like he was waiting for bad news every time his phone buzzed, because he kept checking it over and over. She said that his answer when she asked him if something was wrong made her feel bad. He looked worn out, tired and completely stressed out. This is another straight quote that didn't change. I don't know how to stop him. Even though I love him, I'm scared of him. At the time, Sally thought he was talking about politics, pressure from the business world, or a powerful person pulling strings. She didn't think anything worse would happen. Conversations didn't start putting together the pieces she couldn't ignore until much later. She made it clear that she wasn't saying anyone did anything wrong. The fear she talked about was an emotional kind that wears on a person over time. If you know for sure, tell us that Nick's doctors changed the drugs he was taking for his schizophreniform disorder a month before the killings. Rob and Michelle Reiner knew they had changed Nick's medications, according to our sources. What they saw scared them. His actions changed. They had no idea what to do. We've been trying for a week to figure out why Nick's doctors changed his medications a month before the killings. We couldn't find out. You'll be shocked when you find out, they would always say. When she heard that other people who cared about Rob's well-being had the same worries, she said that changed how she understood that lunch. That's when Tom Cruise's name came up in the talk. This is not as an accused or a whistleblower, but as someone who has known Rob for a long time. They were friends with a few good guys outside of work. It was about them. Cruise is known for noticing changes in people, and people who know him say he had been worried for a long time before anything went public. There is no proof in this case, and no legal charges have been brought. But the emotional pieces that Sally gave me showed a man who was under a lot of stress and afraid because of how his family worked. The thing that's making people uncomfortable is that. Not scandal for hits, but the chance that signs of trouble were not seen. This is not a story with easy answers that would make a good title. There's a lot of mess, feeling, and unease. Which is exactly why it's getting people to stop and listen. According to several people who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were very close to what was going on behind the scenes, Tom Cruise didn't just hear rumors. He is said to have seen something that scared him enough to act right away. Based on what these sources said, Tom organized what could only be called a quiet intervention in November. It was never meant to be made public. According to the story, Tom went to the Reiner house to talk about a possible idea for the future. At first glance, there was nothing out of the ordinary about what he walked into. Those reports say that the meeting quickly turned into a tense argument, but not with Rob. Sources said that Nick was at the center of the stress. It was said that the situation was tense, disorganized, and emotional. Nick was allegedly yelling at Michelle and demanding access to a trust fund that she couldn't get because she was still having problems with her drug recovery. It's not said that anyone was hurt physically, but the strength of the emotions was enough to make everyone there shake. The next thing that's being said shocked people the most. Tom Cruise, who is known for being calm and disciplined, is said to have stepped between Nick and Michelle to slow things down. He did this not as a heroic act, but because he was naturally trying to cool things down. There was a lot of stress in the room because of that alone. Later, private talks that were leaked say that Tom told a close friend that Nick's behavior scared him. He talked about a stare that was empty, unexpected, and very scary. Again, these are second-hand reports. They are not diagnoses or accusations. They are just his feelings about what he thought he saw. If it's true, what happened next might be the scariest part of the whole story. Some people say that Tom took Rob aside that same day and told him the truth without sugarcoating it. He is said to have told him, "This house is not safe for you. Either get him out or leave." I was a real crazy person. I was crazy. And I guess it wasn't just drugs. It's always more than that. That kind of focus helped me a lot. I mean, it's just life. Things keep going. Life goes on. Things I don't understand. That line alone is said to have stuck with Rob long after Tom died. Take a moment to think about that. One of Hollywood's most powerful and experienced people, who has seen every kind of chaos you can think of, was scared enough to tell a longtime friend to leave his home. Not because of rumors or how they look, but because they are afraid. And this is where the sadness gets worse. Several people close to Rob say that his answer was painfully familiar to anyone who has seen a parent deal with setting limits. Rob didn't get angry. He didn't say there wasn't friction. He stood up for his kid. Rob reportedly told Tom something like, "He's sick. We can't leave him behind. He only needs one more chance." That wasn't being weak. It was love. But love and rejection together can be dangerous. When Sally Struthers spoke in public, she unintentionally proved this exact dynamic. She broke down in tears as she admitted that Rob's ability to forgive everything might have hurt him. She wasn't mad at anyone. She felt bad about herself. She said she wished she had been more persistent, spoken up more, and refused to give in to the reasons. She said that Rob had been slowly pulling away from the people who knew him best. The plans were cancelled. Calls were not answered. Even close family friends could tell that the distance was getting bigger. It wasn't exciting. It was quiet and alone. Thank you for having R.A. Reiner and Seuss. In a strange way, Sally and I were part of a TV family. Yes. A small group of the cast members who are still alive are said to have recently tried to plan a reunion dinner. Something easy to remember and light. Rob said no without giving a reason. That hurt more than Sally thought it would. Then she told a story that made people think. She said that about a week ago, she drove by the house just to check. Even though it was noon, all the blinds were shut. The house didn't look like it was lived in. It felt like a wall. She said it didn't look like a house as much as a castle. It was heavy, quiet, and cut off from the rest of the world. Rob got a text message from her saying she was close by. It took him hours to answer. It was a short but important warning. Nade. Have a good time. He's back home. That was it. There was no clarification or follow-up. Now, those words sound different to everyone who heard them. Just to let you know that something in that house didn't feel right for a long time. He's back home. There are only 2 words, but they have a huge amount of weight. These words no longer sound like a friendly update after what Sally Struthers told us. Instead, they sound more like a warning. And it wasn't just the fear that shocked people. It was the desperate need for money that drove it all. We always think that those kinds of families have enough money to last. That much money takes away all worries. But Sally broke that fantasy. She said that Rob's money problems were getting worse behind the scenes. Not because of lost investments or projects, but because he was trying to keep something from going crazy. Sally said that Rob had been selling off things behind the scenes. Not for personal projects or to enjoy retirement, but to pay off bills related to Nick's getting worse problems. She did not show any papers or numbers. She shared her worry. She said that Rob was crazy, tired, and always trying to put out fires that no one else could see. She gave the impression that the stress wasn't just mental. It made me feel scared. Not in a movie-like way, but in a way that makes you feel stressed out in real life and keeps you up at night. Rob thought that by putting off problems, he was keeping his family safe and preventing chaos from entering. It breaks your heart that he didn't see that the risk might be inside his own home. People often ask me why, at 77 years old, I still do so much theater. The answer is simple. I'm asked to. It's not even like I need to try out. People ask me, well, you know, why is your friend Brenda Vaccaro sitting at home not working, when they offer me parts in shows and plays all over the country? I told you that she's a great actress because I had the chance to be on a new national TV show. Yes. And people in North America learned my name. Okay. They got used to my voice and face, and now they're interested. At age 77, they might come see something because they like or love you, but more likely it's because they want to know if she's still living. Also, she's let's go look at her now. Then you really knock their socks off. Then you really knock them out. Then Sally talked about something that still makes her feel bad. She watched what she said. She didn't say who she was accusing, but it was clear what she meant.